drop me off in Rotherham.
Comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots! Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United. Wood's got round the back, and Richie Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to New York Talk. This is the Rotherham United podcast. Thank you all for being with us on this Thursday evening as we look back at a late equaliser, late draw at home to Burton Albion, and we preview a really tough team, Lincoln City, coming to town on Saturday afternoon. We have a debutant tonight. Dom Drawing Millers is with us. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm not bad, thanks. Pleasure to come on.
Good to be with you. I'll tell you, we tried to sort this out a few weeks ago, and I actually made a pig's ear of it. So it's good to finally have you on, mate.
Finally.
Joy's back with us. How you doing, Joy?
Hi, I'm fine, thank you, lads. How's you?
Very, very, very good. Very, very good. And Mickey's back with us, the odd one out, if anybody's watching on YouTube tonight. I don't know if you can notice the difference when what Mick's wearing to what we're wearing. It is a man's top he's wearing, by the look, apparently. But Mick, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate. Yeah. The thing is, I didn't realise, and this is, I need to be careful what I say here, but it is a fact. This is factually accurate. Mexican people are a lot smaller, and I bought a large shirt thinking that, but it's a large Mexican shirt. I should have gone for triple XL. There you go.
Oh, brilliant. There we go. Right. We have loads of people in the comments with us, as you'd expect. Well, Terry from us says, evening, guys and gals, all smiles in his house after the Tuesday. Richard says, nearly went for a Burton. Kelly Foss says, evening all buzzing for Hamish. He's a great kid. Paul Rhodes says, evening ref was a shocker, even by League One standards. We'll definitely talk about that. Phil Oxley's with us. Most players says, evening all the unbeaten league run continues. And if you squint just right, most when you can say that the unbeaten run continues altogether, because it's still technically a draw against Swindon Town. Trevor Mrs. Longmate continue into Saturday, one game at a time. Harry says, a game where both teams should have lost, but maybe should have won as well. A very weird game of football, absolutely. Darren Cook with us, and Scott Kemp with the update. Richardson is beating Revs in the League One game on Thursday night, which nobody wants on a Thursday evening. Let's start with you, Dom. Me and Mick talked on Tuesday night, straight after the game. What was your kind of just general summing up of Tuesday night? Because it wasn't pretty or exciting until that late on.
Yeah, it were a strange game, really, wasn't it? I don't think referee helped either side, really. Did he? Wasn't very good, but from our side, really positives. We've kept unbeaten run going, and obviously coming back from 2-0 down as well. But although I don't think we played particularly that well, but still coming out with a result after that is a positive as well, do you know?
Absolutely is, Joy. And that's one of the signs of a good team. We said this under Paul Warne quite a lot, it's a sign of a really, really good team when you don't play very well and win. Obviously, it was only a draw, but we really, really didn't play very, very well at all. And you still managed to get a late equaliser and come from 2-0 down. That for all the negatives we will talk about, you've got to praise that side of things.
Absolutely. I mean, not losing, I suppose, is what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? Oh, I've been busy all day today. Maybe my brain's not functioning. It's a habit. That's the word I was looking for. Good grief. It's not even a difficult word, is it? It was a habit to get into. It's like winning, not losing. It's a habit to get into, and a very good one at that. Though very lucky habit, I would suggest, from Tuesday's game. It was sort of a continuation, I think, from Saturday, which was pretty meh. I just wish we'd play quicker. Yeah. Once we start playing with a little bit of purpose, we seem okay, but we just seem to sort of just fanny about with it, for want of a better term.
Yeah, Hamshaw kind of mentioned that. It's something like being aimless in possession or something like that. It kind of referred to it. It summed it up pretty well. Add more context into it, Mick, is the injury situation. I don't know if this came across on telly. We mentioned this briefly in the interaction, but Reece James couldn't take throw-ins on Tuesday night because of this rib issue, and he's only played, but he still managed to play 90 minutes. He talks about Sharif played longer than what Nombe played for basically the entire game, which I don't think he probably would have wanted to do in an ideal situation. Joe Raffett wouldn't be playing that amount of minutes on his first game back after injury. The list goes on and on and on. So add that context into it even further, Mick. That makes the point even better.
It makes the result much better, yeah. It really, really does. Given that context and taking away probably 85 minutes of the game, it is a good result. But this, even with those injuries, the lackluster performance, particularly in that first half, no pace, no aggression, no real fight or drive or desire. That's a bit harsh, the last one, but it was just awful game to watch from a Rotherham United perspective. I think from Burton's perspective, they probably felt a lot better about it because they had a lot of the ball and they kept it really well. Burton do that. That's my sort of memory of them playing at New York Stadium for the last 2 years now. When they come, they look after the ball really, really well. They're rarely effective in front of goal, but they do look after it well, and we just did not. And when we had it, we were slow in possession and then just gave it away. I'm not convinced how much the injuries can be blamed for that. I accept that they play a part in it, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. So anyway, it doesn't matter at the end of the day, does it?
No.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter what I like or don't like at all. But
No, I suppose it doesn't. Harry says, for me, what I thought I could see was the idea, but the players were lacking a bit of confidence, not wanting to go forward, only sideways and backwards. Sorry, and then maybe that's where injury plays a part, Dom, because in terms of confidence, the confidence should be there because this run we're on is pretty good. Even the Swindon game wasn't the end of the world. There was parts that were really, really good. So maybe it's just a lack of kind of match fitness which hurt them because they did just seem to be a bit safe with their passes, just constantly safe pass, and maybe that's where the injuries played into it a little bit, where they just didn't want to take those risks.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. If there's obviously like players like Reece James who were probably still maybe not 100% Rafferty and stuff like that, so they're probably just probably just playing. Try to take it easy. Obviously, not risk any more injuries in squad. So we've already got a fair few of them, haven't we? So we don't want no more.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And this from we're obviously not footballers, but when you go to work, if you're not very well, you kind of just be within yourself. You don't do anything extra. You just all within yourself. And if you're half injured, you maybe just play the extra few % within yourself.
Yeah, you just do like obviously a bare minimum. Your job done, yeah.
Exactly. Maybe that's what's where we are at the minute. Obviously, I think Saturday might be a bit of an improvement.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment of the performance, particularly in that first half. We just did the bare minimum, and maybe I'm underplaying the significance of the injuries, but I just expected to see a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree. And if you were going to be really harsh, Joy, because I think we should take everybody's kind of views in there. If you're going to be really harsh, which Mick was a little bit post-match, it kind of reminds you a bit of last year, where, a lot of those games last year, we won some of those games 2-1. They were just boring and dull, and it kind of fell into that category a little bit, didn't it? It was dull. We should have all been buzzing. But at the end of the game, I just felt a little bit flat and a little bit bored by it because just the whole thing that happened and how it played out. Sorry,
I think sort of being there on Saturday as well, which a waste of money that was. Even though it were only a tenner. It sort of finished. It carried on in that same vein, if you know what I mean. And I think Mick touched on it. No urgency. No, it was just meh again. And like you say, it's like last year. I suppose what we can say is a positive is last year we would have lost that 2-0. We wouldn't have got back. I mean, I know both goals were a bit. I mean, was it Spence wrapping his feet around himself and slipping over, and they've got a 2-on-1, and it wasn't particularly good defending at the corner either. So, but we fought back, and Denzel Hall got the look of the draw with that nifty little deflection, and then a good header from the young man, and well deserved. I mean, he's come in and he's not let anybody down, I don't think. And I think it's been touched on previously is that the upside of this is there's some young lads getting a game, and some of them are looking reasonably good, I would suggest. I mean, Douglas has got the shirt at the moment. I think when Harrison Duncan came on Saturday, he did not put a foot wrong. I was very impressed with him. And every time I've seen Clark as well, I've been impressed with him too. So there's 3 young fellas there that would have probably not even had a sniff had this injury, who do not raised its head. So swings and roundabouts, isn't it? And we're not in the bottom 3. We're halfway up the table. Win-win, innit? Even though we didn't. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I spoke to a couple of League Cup podcasts this week doing their preview shows, and they kind of asked, where do you think the season is? How do you see it? And realistically, we are where we all thought we'd be anyway. We're all playing roughly how we thought we'd play. We're playing really good sometimes, averages sometimes, really poorly sometimes. To take a step back from it, which is obviously very difficult as fans because we're all emotionally invested, but to take a step back, everything's kind of going almost to plan. We all knew we'd have loads of injuries because we got leftover players last year, which have issues, and some of the ones that come in. Everything's kind of just happening as we'd expect, I think, at the minute. Not no better, no worse, or am I don't know. What do you think?
I think if you look at the bigger picture, I have no issues with it at all. I can see what they're trying to do. I can see what the aim is, both on and off the pitch. Bigger picture, yeah, I agree. I have no issue with it. I think it's really, really promising. And there are times, like you say, when we're absolutely excellent, and other times when we're not so much. But then you look at individual games, and it's a different story at times. And we just happen to be talking about one of those games where it's not been great. There have been. I don't think we've had a fantastic 90 minutes at all season. No. However, there have been good halves. There's been good 50, 60 minutes, and that's an issue that the manager and his team will be looking to address. But with all the injuries, that's not going to be so easy, is it? But yeah, bigger picture, I agree with you. I think we are exactly where we would like to have been. We'd maybe like to have been a bit higher, but I think if you'd have said in August, come beginning of November, you're going to be sort of top half at table and 3 points off 10th or 9th or 10th, you'd have took it, without a doubt. So, it depends in what context we're speaking, doesn't it? You know, whether it's about a game or whether it's about the season as a whole. So,
yeah, fair enough. Phil Oxley says, even though we've been winning games, we haven't really had a host of clear-cut chances. I think that's why the crowd seems a bit flat. There's nothing to get you on your feet about. It's all about the results. There wouldn't have been anything anyway back last season, but we've developed a bit of a backbone now, which is good. But performances are still not great. But results all day long. Yeah. I don't know if anybody's got anything to say about the first half. Let me know. I'm just gonna skip that because I don't really remember anything from the first half. We'll start with we're going to feed in bits of ref chat in this because I think there's too much to cover in one go. But Dom, we were very, very lucky that they didn't get a penalty in the first half. I can't remember who went sliding in, but I didn't see him get anywhere near the ball, and he's kind of took his legs from underneath him in the penalty box in the first half. I think that's number one referee mistake that benefited us that time.
Yeah, I think it was McWilliams, wasn't it, who slid in?
Yeah. Okay.
And it looked. I don't know how he's not give it, to be honest. it wasn't a great tackle, was it?
No. Funny though. Funny when it works for us, it's funny.
Yeah.
As it did later on as well. Let's talk about the first goal, Joy, because I think me and Mick might be in the minority here, but for me the first goal's a foul on Cam Dawson. Their players backing into him all game. He's got the arms around him. If he didn't have the arms up, I wouldn't be kind of as bothered. He's got the arms around him. Dawson's tried to push around him and found himself in no man's land. But for me, that's a foul on the goalkeeper. We see that every week. How often do we see that as a foul in football nowadays? I was surprised it wasn't given.
They're not always given, I don't think, Matt. And I suppose you could argue Cam could have been a little bit stronger, a little bit more assertive in that position. I mean, when I looked at the replay back, it did look like he was flailing his arms a little bit. And 6 one, half a dozen of the other. I've seen him given, I've seen him got away with, and they got away with that one. You know, what if the boot had been on the other foot? We'd have been a bit cheesed off if it had been chalked off, wouldn't we? But
okay,
play devil's advocate.
We've had. It's difficult to keep up with how often rules change in football because they seem to change every so often. But I think back to some of the goals that we've had disallowed from fouls on the goalkeeper. Harry's with you. Joyce Dawson should still get there for me. I also think he could do a little better for the second. To be fair, Mick, to you pointed this out in the first half to me. I didn't watch it first. Yeah. You were calling every single corner as a foul on the keeper, and that's the one we have a replay of to look back at, really.
Every day of every week, that's given as a foul on the goalkeeper. The first corner, it's given and it's not done again. That's what happens. And it was never given. I think they had 3 or 4 corners and they did it every single time. 100% that is a foul on the goalkeeper. He's completely obstructing his movement. He can't move. He can't get off his line. It's a foul every day of the week. And I'm gobsmacked, to be perfectly honest, that people don't think it is. When we've seen these given week after week after week after week, teams try it. They try it for the first corner, see what the referee's going to give it, and 99 times out of 100, it's a foul on keeper. They don't do it again. Everybody moves on, but he didn't do it. Sorry, there's no way, and I've watched it back again, and having watched it back again, there's no way you're going to convince me that's not a foul. No way. Not after everything we've seen over the years. It's given week in, week out. Sorry, that's my view. But and then the thing is, Cam Dawson puts both hands in the player's back to get him out of the way, because that's the only way that he's going to get him out of the way. It's a penalty. 100%, it's a penalty. He's got no choice. He can't move.
Yeah, I would need to watch it back. I think the referee's position was poor as well. I think he would have been blocked by the bulk of the players, which doesn't help the referee. That's down to referee positioning. Philip
He had 3 opportunities before that to see it.
He has. Lionel should help as well.
Yeah.
But Phil says, not a foul for me. If you come, you need to be strong.
He couldn't come. He couldn't come for ball. That's exactly my point. That's precisely my point.
Okay.
Sorry.
Mike Miller says, nope. I think he's disagreeing with you, which Christopher says, Cam is a big man. If he shouted that he was coming, the fence would have been out of the way. Neil Livers does agree with you, though. Terry Fender thinks he should be more vocal. Where do you come down on this one, Don? Because this is one of those rules that, again, it feels like it changes every 6 months. Where do you sit on it?
I think when I initially saw it, I thought it was just poor defending and goalkeeping for their goal. But since I've watched it back, I do kind of agree with what Mick's saying. I think if it's against you, you'd want it. But then on the other side, I think, if it's other way around, you'd probably be a bit cheesed off that it'd been going against you, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I do think some fouls that they do give against goalkeepers are quite soft sometimes and frustrating. They do get quite protected.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes. Only sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes.
As it turns out.
Not on Tuesday night.
Exactly. And I'm sure if you watch all the goals on Saturday or all the chances of this coming Saturday, I'm certain one of those chances will get ruled out probably. But I'm sure the week after they'll not get ruled out, and we'll just be in this level of nobody actually knows what the rules are. But yeah, Robert Dick said if that's a foul, we may as well get rid of corners, as every foul would be a corner.
There's fouls at every corner. But I mean, we're stamping down on shirt pulling at corners and everything, aren't we? But there's pushing and shoving all the time. I accept that, and in reality, if you're going to work by letter of law, then each one of them should be given. If it's a foul, it's a foul. It doesn't matter whether it's a corner throw in open play. It's a foul, and you can't obstruct another player like that. You just that's against. You can't do it. I don't care how strong you think your goalkeeper should be. His only option in that position, his only option is to push the player over. That's his only option, which is a foul. You can't move otherwise.
Yeah, I think you can question. So I might also forget whether it's a foul or not. Sheriff at the near post never got off the ground ahead of the ball. That's where you can question. I'm not. Let's take away the Dawson question here, Joy, for a minute. The question of the Burton play getting the first contact on the ball from a near post flick on is probably where we actually should be directing some of our criticism, really, because it was too easy for their attacker to get that header on the ball. That's you, Joy. Can you hear me?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Joy.
Can't hear my name. No, I agree, and that's why I think it was poor defending all the way around. That flick on at the near post, you should be able to defend those. That's the basics, isn't it? Let's be honest. So, yeah, I mean, the fact that Cam Dawson did or didn't get fouled is a bit of a moot point because he shouldn't have even got that far across the 6-yard box for their defender to sort of side edit in. It'd be my viewpoint. I just think it's just really poor defending. Yeah, the whole.
I'm surprised because we've been pretty good. We've been pretty good defending set pieces recently as well. So it was a bit of a surprise, that one.
But then again, we've got a different bloody set of centre backs again.
True.
We had Baptiste and Jules a week or so ago, and now it's Douglas and Perm, anyone from 3, depending who's able to get off the sick bed. So,
yeah, that's very true. Very, very true. Chris Ellis says Sheriff is 6 foot. I get that, Chris, but what I would add is that he's not great in the air. Martha's better than Sharif in air, and Martha's about 2'6". So the height is not necessarily what helps, but I do agree that Sheriff should probably doing better. There's no reaction after the goal from us, really, Mick, and it's not a concern because of what happened after the second goal and we came back. But in recent weeks, when there's been a goal, he's made a couple of changes and things have changed and turned around, and we just didn't really see that straight away. We'll just continue doing the same thing and hope that something changed, and it just never changed until we brought better until this deflected own goal.
Yeah, it didn't change at all. We were still as lacklustre as we were previously. It didn't kind of fire us into any sort of action really. We had a very brief spell immediately after the goal where we kind of got on top of the game a little bit, but then it just fizzled out again. And this was my sort of worry after the game, looking back at it immediately after the game, thinking really there should have been something, if we're going to go 1-0 down to a goal that we certainly Dawson and some of the defenders were complaining to the referee and linesman initially. So they obviously felt a little bit of injustice about it, whether we can argue all night whether it is or it isn't. But that didn't seem to transfer into the way that we played. I don't know. It is a bit of a worry. It is a bit of a worry that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the second goal, Dom. It's one of those goals that's difficult to talk about, really, because it's just one of those things. Kieran Spencer's been really, really good for us since he came in. He's slipped. Douglas is 1-on-1, and the players finished it really, really well. Does somebody deserve? Is there a bit of finger pointing more should be done there, or is it just one of those things that happens in football?
I think it's like you say. I think it's just one of them. Obviously, it's unfortunate. Spence is slipped and obviously left us light in numbers at back, and they've capitalised. And it were a good finish, to be fair, wasn't it? I don't think you can really blame anyone too much. It's just unfortunate, wasn't it?
Yeah, it were. And to be fair, Spence, Spencer's been really, really good so far this season.
Yeah,
you know, if it's somebody else who's been putting, Powell who's been pretty average all season. If Powell does that, he probably gets a lot more stick, doesn't he? Because it's Spence, he kind of gets away with it, Joy. But we kind of forgive him that one because of the good things he's done in his short spell so far.
Yeah, I think that, but I think he's still got a bit of credit from that goal he scored against Barnsley, hasn't he? So we'll let him off with that one.
Exactly. But again, Joey, 2 goals goes in, and there's still not really a reaction. Again, it took a piece of luck, really, from Denzel Hall. We'll talk about the build-up in a second, because that was messy and chaotic. But it took a bit of luck, really, to spark us into the game, which, again, is a little bit of a surprise. When you have Hugo, Benson, and a few other players on the bench that I think he could have brought those on a little bit earlier to maybe have a little bit of an impact.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. There wasn't much of a response even when we went 2-0 down. And regarding his slip, I think you could actually put some blame towards whoever it was who passed it to him, because it wasn't a very good pass. And that's why he had to turn around and got his feet all cockeyed and slipped over. So, you know, when you're passing from full back position into just in front of the 18-yard box, you've got to be a little bit more aware. So I can't remember whom that was, but yeah, that was my view on that. But no, there was no urgency until after we had, like I said, had a bit of luck with the goal that Denzel scored. I mean, the whole game, there wasn't until the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes, there wasn't any sort of get up a go, or they just, you know, like I said, the speed of the passing, there isn't any. And when we do that, when we do get up to the speed and we do create some good passing moves, we look pretty good, but we're just too slow.
Yeah, absolutely were. Jeremy Martin says everybody looked knackered. James was injured, looked like he's in pain all game. I'm glad we weren't playing Lincoln, so on Tuesday they would have had us for dinner. It's worth remembering, I know this is just a bit of factual information for you. We were obviously meant to play Burton in August originally. The game was rearranged into October, I think, and the game in October was moved to help with Burton's fixture congestion into this game on Saturday, this game on Tuesday, which then hurt us because of our fixture congestion. We're now suffering in the first place, which is neither here nor there, but maybe not our best decision to move it from the first date that was offered in October. Right, let's talk about our first goal, Nick, because it's one of the most chaotic 40 seconds of football in a while, to be honest with you. The ball's on the edge of the Burton box. Dango gets fouled. It's so clear a foul that if you watch the replay, the Burton players stop. They don't continue to play the ball because Burton know it's a foul. The ball then gets played long, and their attacker does pretty well to get himself in a really, really good position. Knocks it past Joe Rafferty. Joe Rafferty hacks him down. Referee, for some reason, appears doesn't give a red card. Yeah. I still don't know why. And again, from the resulting clearance, Denzel Hall tries to cross the ball, comes off the defender, and goes into Burton's back of the net. It's just a crazy minute of football. Terrible refereeing. Not very good football from either team. And the biggest slice of luck we've probably had on the pitch this season.
There's a bit to unpack there, isn't there?
Quite a lot.
Yeah, definitely a foul on Dango. He'd been fouled throughout the game, really, and hardly got anything. And then he certainly weren't getting that one. But the bizarre thing is, you said that everybody stopped. Everybody. The Burton players, the Rotherham players. You know, if we'd have been a bit more switched on, we could have had the ball off that Burton defender and had him back at net before he'd even realised that refereeing had blown whistle. You know, it was bizarre because we all just thought, oh, that's a free kick. But for some reason, the ref decided it wasn't, and then the Joe Rafferty one. I mean, I've got nothing I've got absolutely nothing as to any explanation as to how that's not given. There are arguably 3 officials there with a clear line of sight of that. The linesman particularly is right in line with it. The referee can see it from the back. The 4th official can see it. Everybody in the crowd can see it. It's an absolute nailed-on red card. There is no question about it. And that's not even opinion, is it, really? No. It's just a fact. And when I saw him wave it away, I couldn't believe it. I genuinely, I mean, it was great from a Rotherham United point of view, from a very selfish point of view. But it was just bizarre, utterly bizarre. And you know, if I were a Burton fan, I mean, well, I'm a Rotherham fan and we didn't get the free kick in first place, so it shouldn't have been a red card. So, but then for that to happen and us to go up the other end and then them score an own goal, it's like Fred Carno's circus, isn't it? It's just bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have no idea. At that point, the referee had completely lost the plot. I don't think he had any control over what he was doing, let alone what was happening in the game. Because, I mean, he went on obviously to make some more howlers as well. So the penalty shout for Burton that you talked about earlier on was in the second half. It was down at the Burton end.
It were at Cop. They were at Cop end.
Oh well, they should have another one in second half and all then. The one where I laughingly said to you, "Don't worry about it, he got ball."
Right.
So they should have another one in second half. Yeah, it was just awful.
Yeah, Jeremiah says, think referee to agree knew he made a mistake. And I think that was the problem, Dom.
Yeah.
That was the entire problem. We got, oh my God, that's a terrible decision not getting a foul and then go, I'll give Rotherham next one. And it just happened to be the most blatant red card of the season that he decided not to even things up somehow. It was just madness.
Yeah, I think the only thing he's done, ref, there is he's obviously realised he's made a mistake by not getting that foul on Dango, and then he's tried to even it up straight away, but obviously it's even more of an howler that he's missed that one, really. So that were an absolute stonewall red card, wasn't it? Because they were through if he'd not tackled him.
Yeah, it was just bizarre. Scott Kent, referee, messed up massively with the foul on goals, made it even.
We have that one. I mean, define even.
Exactly. Yeah. But the goal, Joy, it's very, 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 very lucky. But it was a bit like the Rafferty own goal we got against Burton when Rafferty against Oldham. Sorry, when Rafferty crossed it, was a deflected goal in the Virtue Trophy. There's a huge amount of luck, but at the same time, we're crossing the ball. It was a relatively early cross as well. It causes chaos. You can't credit too much, but you have got to credit that side of things where we just shut the ball in the box, and well, you buy a ticket, you win the lottery sometimes.
That's exactly what I was just going to say, Matt. You've got to buy a ticket to win the lottery, and and there's a fair amount of power behind it. And I don't know whether it looked like it was on target anyway, so I don't know why. Was it on target? Could it have been a whole go? I mean, I know it did deflect in and left their keeper rooted to the middle of the goal, but yeah, you take them, don't you? We'll have it. 2-1.
Absolutely.
10 minutes to go.
Yeah, it finally got exciting, didn't it? Finally.
Yeah. Ref got to get even more giddy, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Bloody hell. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Denzel Hall, Mick. I just briefly touch it before we go back into the chaos in a minute. Denzel Hall's performance on Tuesday night. That was a step down from Denzel Hall's level that it has been in the past. And is this, and it wasn't great against Swindon either. Is this a minor concern, or we're just saying it's a couple of games? Let's just move on to hopefully better things on Saturday.
We know he's a better player than his performances in the last 2 games have shown. So, and performance of the team overall has been at the same sort of level. So I'm not concerned too much about that. I think if you see a better performance from the team as a whole, you'll see a better performance from Denzel Hall and a Johnny Martha as well. You know, another one for me. I think I mentioned this on the post match. I might have just been talking when I was chatting to you after the game. I've got a little bit of a worry about a Johnny Martha and his. I don't want to use the word attitude because that's not the right term, but his approach to the game sometimes when we are when we're not performing well, it looks a little bit like he spits his dummy out, you know, and doesn't really get involved as much as he can for me. But I'll just keep a watching brief on that one. I don't know.
Yeah. Harry says he hasn't been great at Denzel Hall since the Jamaican news come out. We are getting close to January as well. The rumours of Denzel Hall and a few others leaving are heating up a little bit. You never know if that's going to impact players. We'll maybe wait and see the next 3 or 4 games how his levels dip or come back up a little bit because everybody's had a bad spell. And obviously this is his 2 games is his bad spell at the minute. But we still all love Denzel Hall, so let's not get carried away. Before the second goal, it's a bit of a blur to be honest, but I think the Sharif penalty shout comes before the second goal. That's as bad as probably it's almost in the same spot as their first half penalty shout. And it's almost as bad a decision as well, because again, I might be able to give us some comments in the comments about referee, but why would he have gone down? We know his shoe came off in the end, so we all know it's a foul, but in a referee's head, you mean, why would he have gone down there? That must be a foul. It was just, again, a terrible decision.
Yeah, because he's, like you say, why would he have gone down? He was in with a chance of leveling game at time, wasn't he? And
yeah.
I think he shared a picture, I don't know if you'd seen it, of that. He had massive gash up back of his ankles now. I don't think we need much more proof than that, do we, really?
Well, he wants to be careful posting pictures like that. Everton will have him rested up for another 4 weeks. He's
Yeah.
Won't be telling Everton about that, jeez. Darren Cook and Scott can mention mentioning that he says Rob Dixon says he went down because that's what modern footballer does now. I mean, he got stood on. I don't know.
We talked about this again on post match. It's either a foul or a corner.
Yeah.
If it's a goal kick, that means they haven't got their player didn't get the ball, and therefore it's a foul. It can't be a goal kick. That's the only out of the 3 options the referee's got there. The only one that it can't be is the one that he gave. You know, it's either a penalty or a corner. It can't be
or dive, or if he thinks it's a dive as well.
Well, yeah, in that case, booking.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You know, the rules are there. You know what I mean? He'd lost it at that point. And I take on board Mike's comment from earlier on about refereeing experts and everything else. And we don't know what it's like doing that job. However, we're all experienced enough and we've all seen enough football to know when a referee does a bad job and a good job. You know, I was thinking about it earlier on today, and there's a part of me feels a little bit of sympathy for some of these referees, and I'm not being passive aggressive when I say this, but they're not up to the job. They're quite clearly not up to the job, and they're refereeing at a level of football that they're just not up to. And I don't know whether that's because there aren't enough. I don't know what the reasons are, but it's every now and again you'll get a performance from a referee like that, and we all have bad days at the office. We all play badly and everything else, but that wasn't a bad day at the office on Tuesday night for the referee. It was not a bad day. It was a level of ability or. Well, a little bit of ability. I can't think of a better word. I might be wrong, but it was the game was too much for him, and it was a poor game. You know, his decision making was just awful. And if you're going to be refereeing at that level,
the word you're looking for is incompetent.
I don't know whether it is, Troy. I don't know. I know what you're saying, and part of me, the mischievous part of me, wants to say that. you know. But I just think we've all seen it in our workplaces of people who are promoted above their ability, you know. And I think this referee and some of the others, and many of them in the Championship, are genuine, and it's not their fault that they don't have the ability. You know, you've either got it or you haven't you? You know what I mean? You can train, you can learn, and everything else, but everybody's got a ceiling. And this ref's ceiling is definitely way, way below League One, I'm afraid.
Matt Mill said that Ross is usually a good referee. He didn't have a great night. That's fair enough. Yes, but that's something we can all agree on. What I would say, what I am going to say is we've had Ross Joyce before, and I have barely noticed him. The Bolton game where we won 1-0 and Cam Dawson nobody mentioned, nobody noticed the referee, and that was Ross Joyce. That's the same referee that we've had in that game. So he's obviously not a bad referee, but that's up there as one of the worst 90-minute performances from. We've all seen worse decisions like the Victor elbow and everything else. We've seen worse decisions. But as a 90, that's well up there as one of the worst I can remember at Rotherham United.
I can't. I've got to disagree. Yeah, he might have good games, but that passage of play that we've just outlined there, with the foul on goal, the red card, that red card is inexcusable. It's inexcusable that that's not given. All right, if he thinks it's not a foul on Dango, everybody else did. Fine. All right, that's absolutely fine. Just because you've made a mistake, you can't then go and make an even bigger one to even it up. That's not how it works, and it's not how it should work, you know. And that passage of play there is a sign that he's not a good referee. He's not strong enough. He's not capable. No, that's not the right word. He's just not strong enough because he's made a mistake. You can't just even it up. That's not how it works. Not when it's so blatant. I'd be fuming. I'd be fuming if I were a Burton fan. Absolutely fuming.
Yeah.
Just because of that passage of play.
Yeah. It reminded me a bit of Gavin Ward, and ignoring the Victor incident. Gavin Ward in the past has been one of those that bottles the big decisions. He's all right in the middle of the pitch, and every single big decision, he didn't want to give it on Tuesday night. The 3 penalties as the red card. He just didn't want to give them. Yeah, Harry says, I assume the FL will give us Ward or Langford soon to help us see that the ref on Tuesday was actually really good. You need a job at the EFL, Harry. I don't know if you want to get in touch with them and PGMOL. Sorry, see if I'm sure Howard will give you a job in distributing some referees. Definitely.
Telling you a Rotherham fan, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Again, we got 2-1 up, Joy, and this is when things start to turn, things start to move. Now, it was before the first goal, he was going to make a double substitution. He was going to bring Hugel and Benson on. When we scored, he backed down and only put Benson on. And Hugel obviously came on later again, which I want to talk about. But there really was an impact after that first goal. There really was, right, okay, we can do this. The crowd lifted a bit, the players lifted a bit. We just needed that little bit of luck to kick us into gear, and we really did kick into gear for the last 10 minutes or so.
I mean, we could have won it as well at the end with that flipping header that Sheriff missed. Virtually last kick of the game or header of the game. But I think what it is as a fan is you think, well, why is it taken to get to this point in the 80th minute or whatever it was for us to sort of start thinking, oh, we might be able to get something out of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's what gets us down, isn't it? If you've got the skill and the ability and the wherewithal to do that, and like we said, this run that we're on, we can't knock it. We've not lost for 5 games now, so 6, 5, whatever. That's pretty good going. The way we started off, but like we say, when we look at the actual individual games and I mean, anybody from the outside looking in would have thought, oh, 2-0 down, there must have been a right good going. But you can't actually say hand on heart that we did.
No.
Well, I can't personally until after it wasn't a foregone conclusion that we were going to get that first goal. And we have said it, catalogue of errors that led to it. And then from there on in, we did pick up the pace and we did play like what we should have been playing for the previous 80 odd minutes, but I just don't understand the mentality of the players or the coaching staff or what it is that means that we can't string it together and respond. I mean, it was the same on last Saturday as well against Swindon. Very much so. We score early doors and then could have been 3 or 4 up at half time and turned in an abject performance in the second half. So I don't get it. I don't get the mentality of this group of players and the coaching staff, to be brutally honest.
No. It is a bit of a mystery at times. I get you. Jay, my man says they kicked into gear when the crowd kicked into gear. The atmosphere lately is awful. He says worse than awful. Yeah, I was just with the amount of people that came on Tuesday in the middle of a really, really good run, and that's the crowd that turned around. I was surprised and a little bit disappointed on that, to be honest with you. But anyway, the moment of the night, Dom, comes in the 93rd minute. Let's heap some praise on the league, the first league start for Hamish Douglas. We'll talk about his goal in a minute, but let's just talk about his performance first of all, because that wasn't the debut of a young kid who's barely played professional football before. He came up against a really big, strong Burton team, and he may as well have been a 31-year-old playing in there. He just looked so confident, so comfortable. It looked like he deserved to be there.
Yeah, definitely. I thought he did really well for obviously his debut. He didn't look out of place at all, did he? And as well, I thought he did well on Saturday against Swindon, obviously until he came off. So I was quite pleased to see him start again on Tuesday. And obviously he's done himself a lot of favours now. I think he's got shit at minute, hasn't he? So it's up to him to take his chance really now, and hopefully he does.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great moment for him, Joy. I don't know if I assume he's not a Rotherham boy, but he's come through the Rotherham Academy. And to get your first ever professional goal as an equaliser in the 93rd minute at the Cop End, it'll just, even if he never plays another game, which he will, he's always got that moment to live on. That's such a great moment that we'd all pay unlimited amount of money to have that moment and bottle it and just keep it just for him. Fantastic.
I know, he went off like a scalded cat, didn't he, when he scored? I think he would have beaten Usain Bolt over that short distance. But, you got to say, and it was a good header. And because he did have to stoop a bit and sort of go back to get it, because it wasn't above him. It was sort of still at sort of standing level, wasn't it, with the way it came to him, and he had to sort of adjust his position and get it right in the bottom corner. So good on the lad. And like I said, I'm quite happy in one sense with all the young lads that seem to be coming through. We seem to have a couple of more than a couple of rough diamonds there that hopefully Hampshire with his academy experience can buff up and polish up.
Absolutely. We should also give credit. I know this is going back quite a long time, but the first person to notice Douglas's talents was Matt Taylor. Matt Taylor talked about him being a decent player. I think he played in some cup competitions, and Matt Taylor signed him on a couple of year contract when he was in. I assume he's 20 now, but 2 years ago when Taylor was here, Matt Taylor was the one that kind of signed him on and put him with the first team. So Matt Taylor don't get too much credit here, but I think that's something that should be pointed out. Who kind of noticed him. Andrew Wallace says Hamish reminded him of Big Stan. I won't remember him. Joy might do. Mick might. And Paul Rose says the same thing. Not only that, Mick, he fills in. He solves a problem for us. He solves a massive problem for us because we've got a huge problem, especially with Tom Holmes, especially with Sean Raggett, and especially with everybody else that's injured. He just comes in and looks cool, calm. And when Tom Holmes is back in a couple of weeks' time, it's fine. Hamish Douglas is a kid. He'll go back to being on the bench and being a bit part player, and when he's needed, he'll step back up again. We didn't look worse off for a young lad making his first league debut at all.
We looked a sight better than we have done for a good part of the season, to be honest with you. It's high praise indeed to say he reminds you of Paul Stancliffe. I mean, he was a beast. An absolute fantastic centre half, and I can see what people are saying, and I can see why. He was commanding in the air. He dominated their centre forward. He didn't take any any nonsense off him. He was excellent. It would have been my man of the match before scoring the goal, quite frankly. In fact, despite scoring the goal, he was man of the match. It's quite interesting, that position, isn't it? Because we've also got young Harrison Duncan, as well, who played on Saturday against Swindon for, I don't know, 40 minutes or whatever it was he was on, and he looked exactly the same. You know, you could have, I think, from Duncan's performance on Saturday, you could almost mirror that performance with Douglas on Tuesday night. So 2 real good prospects there, and obviously Douglas is a midfielder. I'm struggling with Duncan and Douglas here. This is too much for me. This is too much for a man of my age. There's some real potential there. Some really real potential, and he's having to be thrown in at the deep end, and he's swum like a fish, hasn't he, when he got in there? So not a problem.
Yeah, I've just talked about it really well. I thought in the pre-match today, he talked about his own experience being a youngster, that your first couple of games can be really good, but then 7 or 8 games in, when the kind of adrenaline's worn off a little bit, things can drop off a little bit in terms of performance. So he sounds like he's in a really, really good position as a manager to manage young players coming into the squad. You can't just play him for 46 games a season, I don't think. So yeah, that's how I thought it talks about it really, really well. Andrew Barlow says, for me, it's Douglas's shirt to lose, surely. I think with injuries, Andrew, I don't think there's an option to change him around. Deluxe says Duncan can't be far off as well. He's only 17, remember, Harrison Duncan. That's the only thing I'll add into that. Harrison Duncan is very, very young. I think Douglas is 20 or 21. Harrison Duncan is really, really young. So that's maybe not too much pressure on him to start with. What I do want to talk about is a little bit of criticism. Dom, we're not going to delve too much, but the substitutions. Benson came on to make an impact. You can't really complain. He set up the goal, and there was other set piece he took, which was really, really good, and it impacted the game. And I know you're a Jordan Hugill fan, and when Hugill came on, he was brilliant. He did what we've all been saying all season: that if you can bring Jordan Hugill off the bench, he just causes havoc. He wins headers. He causes a nuisance. He does all this. He should have been brought on 15 minutes earlier, because he did such an impact. Burton didn't know what to do with him. And I just think he missed a trick not bringing him on at the same time, Benson, like he was going to do it 2-0. I don't know why he backed out of that. That was the wrong thing to do.
Yeah, I agree. Like, soon as he came on, he's putting him centre back, causing, obviously, havoc in box and winning headers. And obviously, if you fetch him on early, you never know. He's going to be a threat from set pieces and all that. And we could have ended up maybe with another goal if they'd fetched him on like they were going to do with Benson, because Benson's another one, you're going to get a good delivery from him on your set pieces, and probably Hugill's man that you'd want on the end of it, really, wouldn't you?
Yeah, he is, absolutely. What did you make of that, Joy? Because, again, Hugill's one that is up and down with everybody. He's really popular. If you listen to when he went warming up in the stadium, when he went into the corner, the entire crowd's up shouting his name. So he is developing this cult following around him. But what was your view on the substitutes in general? It was only Benson that came on early enough to have any impact. No, I know it's short on numbers, but I just felt he maybe could have took a risk, especially at 2-1. Never mind 2-0. 2-1. You're in the game. You can turn that around, and it showed that we almost did turn it around.
Yeah. I mean, I agree totally. He could have brought him on at least 5, possibly 10 minutes sooner than he could have done, and who knows what may have happened, because Hugill is an unknown factor even to himself. So it's interesting. When he came, was a centre half on Saturday. I didn't see him chucking himself on the floor very much then, but yeah. He's an interesting character, and I like him, and I really hope this season pans out well for him, because it's likely to be his last season with us unless he bobs off in January. Who knows? But yeah, he could have been brought on for earlier, and who knows? We may have got that second goal quicker, and then had the opportunity to get a third, which we did anyway, but we missed. But yeah.
Yeah.
If
It was
its
the
and
only-
hands were pots and pans, there'd be no need for tinkers.
Yeah, it was the only effective strike. I thought Nombe had a really poor game, and Sharif didn't have a great game as well. Sugar was the only one striker that made any impact, really. I thought, but anyway. Rob Dixon here. Have you seen this? Rob Dixon, Rotherham love a terrible striker. Eves, Hugo, and Kelly. He's put Kelly in that bracket. What am I reading, Rob? Come on. Georgie Kelly. Oh, not having that. That's worth a ban. Can't believe it. Yeah, disagree. Is there anything else you want to mention from? Oh, yeah, it would never fit, Rob. I accept that.
Yeah, his goals per minute ratio was something else.
It was.
His goal per minute ratio were like world class.
Yeah.
A goal every 5 minutes.
It might have been Sheriff didn't look fit. Yeah, Sheriff was off. Sheriff not fit a little bit, to be honest. Interesting to see. He needs to play games.
You've got the thing with Sharif is he's been injured. He's come back. He played 30 minutes on Saturday. He's not match fit. He's not up to speed. I know he should be at his age and all that, but and he's not a lone striker. You can't play him as a lone striker. Anyway, or Nombe. You can't play Nombe as a lone striker, as we found out on Tuesday. What I can't understand is that we get the ball at the back on Tuesday night. We've got one striker, so that means we must have at least 4, probably 5 or 6 players in midfield, and yet the back 4 or back 3 or whether the ball couldn't find anybody to pass it to.
Yeah,
I don't know where they all disappeared to in that middle, but anyway, there you go.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Anybody got anything else you want to mention from the Burton game before we have a quick chat on the Lincoln game?
Oh, forgot about that.
I know.
Gone on too long about that.
We have gone long tonight. We might have an extra 10 minutes tonight. Right, let's move on then to Lincoln City. You should be worried about playing Lincoln City because look at their league table. They are in 5th, I think. They've had a really, really good start to the season, etc., etc., etc. But Mick keeps telling me that history doesn't matter. And I'll disagree because we've only lost once in the last 15 games in all competitions to Lincoln. Mm-hmm. And we've only lost once in the last 29 home games that we've played against Lincoln. That dates back to 5th or 6th, or actually 6th, I think. Are you going to tell me history doesn't matter again, Mick?
No, this time it does. No, does it? Because it doesn't matter, does it? And why should we be worried about them? And Stevenage, you're above them. Stevenage had a great side. Bradford came their second. They were there when they came to us, to use one of Joy's phrases. I'm not. No, it's just not a good league. They might be up there, but in terms of quality, taking away our first half performance on Tuesday night and some of the other first half performances we've had, we shouldn't be frightened of them at all. Not at all.
They are a much better team than Burton, though. I think we can all agree on that, probably.
Yeah, so are we when we can play.
Yes, that's true. That's very, very true. Maybe yes, that is more important or relevant, Dom, is the home form under Matt Hamshaw. The Swindon game technically is a draw, everybody. So we've only lost 1 in 14 games at home under Matt Hamshaw. That was against Stockport, we're currently top of League One. So that is something that I think builds into this never say die attitude at home. You know, you look at the Oldham game and last night and the Man City game where it's kind of like this is our house kind of attitude from the players when they get going a little bit. So you've got to make your home a bit of a fortress, and it is. We should respect Lincoln, but certainly not frightened of them.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Since Hamshaw's come in, obviously we've, like I said, we've only lost one game at home. So whoever we're playing at home, you've got to fancy it, really, haven't you? And because I think, especially like in league in general, I think maybe Cardiff and Stockport. Apart from that, I don't think there's many great teams. Is there? I think everybody can beat everybody, kind of thing. So to take advantages of your own form, it gives you a big chance of climbing up league.
Yeah, I agree. Good start, but as Scott came right points, I lost 3 of the last 5 games, only won 1 of the last 5 games. Yeah. If you've got a bit more on Lincoln, the Scan report is out tomorrow. That's Charlie from the Stacey West podcast. That is out tomorrow. He'll give you a bit more information about the players to look for, the project that they're on under Michael Scabala and Lincoln City. So that's out tomorrow if you want to find out a little bit more about Saturday's opponents. To bring it even more into kind of the modern day, Joy, we are, again, Swindon technically a draw. So we're technically still 8 unbeaten in all competitions. That goes back. Last defeat was that Mansfield game, which feels like years ago, to be honest with you, that we played Mansfield away. And that's the last defeat that we've tasted. So we're going into this game, I think we're the 3rd best form team in the league at the minute. Maybe Lincoln should be frightened of us, bearing in mind the history and the recent record and the recent form at the minute as well.
I think it depends which Rotherham turns up on Saturday.
Yeah,
if it's the Rotherham of the first half at Burton, I will be licking my lips. But if it's the Rotherham in the last 10, 15 minutes, then it's a different ball game. It's like I said, I don't get the mindset. If we get the mindset right, then we shouldn't be afraid of anybody at all in this league. But it doesn't seem to always pan out like that, does it? And like you say, it depends whether we've got the Barnsley attitude or whether we've got the Burton attitude as to how the game's likely to pan out on Saturday, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rob says, please stop with Swindon as a draw. We lost at home. Stop cooking.
I mean, he's right.
He's not. 4 we've counted on 90-minute games.
You're only saying that
I
because
don't make the rules.
You're only doing it so I didn't get right score. That's all you're doing.
I don't make the rules. So
you're just changing when you will.
Yeah, that's true.
Back to last season.
Yes, that's true. If you go on any website now, if you look at Rotherham's form, it'll technically put Swindon down as a draw. So that's, for my stats purposes, that's what I'm having. Like it says, if we look lethargic and shoot much higher, possibly. But I think what I would add into that, the stadium's going to be fuller for a start. Lincoln are going to bring at least 1,000 fans, which is a reasonable way of following. There'll be more home fans because more home fans go to Saturday games rather than Tuesday night games. And we saw on Tuesday that we played better when the atmosphere lifted. So if we see a better atmosphere as we've seen at home games, I expect the players to respond to that like they have done whenever we've lifted the atmosphere this season. Mick.
Talk to me?
Yeah.
No, I weren't listening.
It's quite a class.
Yeah, no, it hopefully it will be. It will be. I mean, it was so quiet on Tuesday, so quiet. I shushed you at one point because you were distracting everybody, just muttering under your breath. It was so quiet. But yeah, it'll be different on Saturday. Hopefully, as long as it's not absolutely lobbing it down. So yeah. Listen, I think they've won 3 away from home, but they've beaten Northampton, Peterborough, and Burton. So no, those are their 3 away wins this season. So now, listen. Hopefully, we'll get some injuries back, some players back from injury. Sorry, and we'll put performance on, at least for one half. You know, and hold out for other one, whichever it is. I don't mind.
It's all you need. Marvin Kletter should be back in the squad, which is massive. We all love Marvin Kletter. So if you can bring Marvin Kletter off the last 20 minutes of a game, that makes any team in this league stronger. I have no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We don't know who else is injured. You know, Reece James played with a broken rib by the sounds of it. So will he be able to play again? You know, how many painkillers can it take to get him through another 90 minutes?
Why would you do that when you've got Lenny?
You've got to be careful with Lenny, haven't you? You've got to be super careful.
Not as careful as you've got to be with Reece James with 3 broken ribs or whatever he's got. You know what I mean? He's got a tight groin, you know? Anyway, just saying. Come on, Matt, get him in.
Well, that brings us on to the left wing-back position, Don, because this has become not a massive issue, but Joe Powell did the first couple of games at left wing-back. But I just thought it was completely ineffective on Tuesday. Again, not on his own, but it was ineffective in that position. I mean, I'd love to get a specialist left wing back in that position at some point soon because Reece James is so much more effective in that position, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he is. I think, like you said, when Powell, I think it was Northampton, didn't he?
Yes.
Put him in it, and I thought it were a bit of a masterstroke from Amshore at time, but it has kind of like dropped off a bit. I think I personally prefer to see Reece James, obviously at left wing back, and Powell in middle at pitch, in midfield. I think he's more effective in that kind of position.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be interesting because Spence played 90 minutes, but he's only just come back. McWilliams came up at half time. It was really poor in the first half. It's going to be interesting to see where these players. Can Benson start? Benson only played 20 minutes. Can Benson come back into the starting 11 on Saturday? These are all questions we obviously don't know the answer to. I don't know. Well, obviously, they don't start everyone on Joe Powell. As soon as we have a left wing back, he'll be back running midfield, which has been better without him in it. Yeah, Scott Kent, left wing back. Hey, if he could start, absolutely, but I don't think he'll start. I don't think I'll want to push him too hard on that one. But we will see. Another question then is strikers, Joe. We finish on this. Strikers. Nombe had his quietest game in a long time for us on Tuesday. Burton really, really gaffed him. They really, really sorted him out, and Sharif didn't help much, to be honest with you, either. They've got Sonny Bradley, who was an absolute giant of a centre-half as well, similar to the Burton guys. What would you do? Would you be tempted to bring Hugo back in the start and go 2 up top? Where do you think you would go with that?
I think Nombe's always got to start because he's got that X factor that he doesn't necessarily have to play well all the time. Something falls for him, he can make something out of nothing. So I would always have Nombe up there if he's fit to do so. Regarding the best player to play with him, I don't think Sheriff looks fit at the moment. He looks very leaden-footed. I think I'd probably go with Hugill, actually. I mean, because he ended up that game against Burton really well. And who knows, he might cause havoc with Lincoln. He's got that old head on his shoulders. Might do some old manning of the giants that Lincoln have in their defence. Who knows? With Hugill, it's either hit or miss, isn't it? It depends which Jordan crosses the white line on Saturday. He could have a blinder and he could have an absolute mare. So, and then I suppose Sheriff on the bench to come on. Yeah, for me. Yeah.
I would. I'd like to, Nombe and Hugo. I like to see together, but then that fits. Does Martha and Benson fit in with that? And well, it'd be interesting to see how it comes through. Kelvin was asked Ref Watch. There's no referee on the EFL website announced yet, but Scott Kent says it's some American Kelly. I think if it's that American, it must be that Chilovitz or something like that. I think we've had him before, but well, I don't know yet is the answer because EFL haven't put anything on their website. Graham's mentioned the Jules Baptiste. We'll talk about that. We've got an hour and 10 minutes almost, so we'll come on to Jules Baptiste next episode because we're running out of time. So let's move on to score predictions. I've been outsourcing my predictions, and whoever's predicting for me in the future really needs to up their game because I've got a really, really detailed prediction this week. So for this week, I've gone to David, one of our Swedish friends. So I asked him, David, can you predict the score? Of course. He said Rotherham will be pushed back and forced to defend almost the entire first half, but late in the first half, Nombe scores after stumbling in the ball on the second wave after a corner. Second half, Rotherham still on the defence, but starts getting into the match and gaining more and more control. A questionable situation in the middle of the second half where the ball seems to touch the upper arm of Lincoln's defender, ends up with Hugo walking up to the penalty and safely shoot the ball low left. Lincoln make it 2-1 around the 87th minute, but doesn't get any closer. Result 2-1. There we go. So thank you, David, for your in-depth prediction.
I'll accept that, David.
Absolutely.
I'm up for that one, David.
And then he replied with Mick's famous gift with 3 easy points. So that's 2-1. Yeah, it is absolutely is. Darren Cook saying 2-0, Mike saying 2-0, Paula Road saying 1-0, Hugo. Mick, what do you reckon? What's Saturday's prediction result going to be against Lincoln?
I'm going to go strong. I'm going strong. They don't concede many away from home, Lincoln. They don't score many, except at Peterborough, but they don't concede many, so I'm going to go 3-1 Rotherham. We're going to change that.
Okay, that sounds entertaining. Have you watched any of our games this season?
No.
Okay.
I just make this up as I go along, as you can probably tell.
Rob Dixon thinks stinks that stinking 0-0. Chris Tether thinks 3-1 as well, though. Richard says 1-0. Dom, what do you reckon, mate?
I think it'll be a tight game, but I reckon 2-1 to Rotherham. I think Hugo's going to score as well. Fancy him to score. Big call.
He's not scored a goal at home. Because all his goals have been away from home, haven't they? I think.
Yeah.
So he's not scored at home in a year, more than a year now. So he is due one. He's due one at home. Joy, what do you think?
I think I'll go with Dom and David and go for 2-1. Though my head says 1 apiece.
Okay. Fair enough. If I was going to predict, I would go 1-1 if I was going to choose my own prediction. But that's not how it works, so I can blame other people. Jamie Wilkerson going for 3-0. Mostly positive predictions, which we'd expect being 8 games unbeaten after 90 minutes. Is there anything else that anybody wants to mention in just tenuously Rotherham United related or actually Rotherham United related?
Cutlers, 29th of November, LPMC, get your tickets.
It's not Rotherham United related, but I'll take it.
Yeah, kind of. Millermen 25. It's all about Millermen 25. Versus Hospice and all that sort of stuff. So come on, folks.
Can you still get into the prize draw if you buy a ticket now, or is that deadline passed?
8th of November. So 2 days. Get your tickets in 2 days. You'll into the prize draw for a signed copy of the Millermen EP.
It's there. Not that one.
Not that particular one, no.
Yeah. Paul was asking if the Luton match is on or off. Probably on, but we'll probably know by Sunday's episode whether it's on or off fully. We haven't hit the 3. Luton don't look like they're going to hit the 3, so probably we're all going to have to go down to Luton next Saturday, which is not ideal for anybody, but it is what it is. There we go. This is what we're on about. 6-0. Hugo Nombe hat tricks. Here we go. Thank you very much, Mr. McMahon. Like that very, very much. Right. Thank you all for watching tonight and being with us on this Thursday evening. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you have subscribed as we keep barreling towards 2,000 subscribers. If you want to watch more Rotherham United stuff, we are back tomorrow with the Scouting Report, as I mentioned, with me and Charlie from Stacey West podcast. And then we're back Saturday evening, which will be the instant reaction, which we will do at the stadium this time. And that'll be obviously us at home to Lincoln City, and then back Sunday for the normal review show, as it'll be at that time. If you're listening on iTunes and Spotify, please do give us a 5-star rating, follow, subscribe, whatever it allows you to do. And don't forget, Dom's with us, so go and check Dom out on Twitter for all his drawings he does for Rotherham United related stuff. You can see the Twitter handle there. Go and do it. Thank you, Mick. Thank you, Joy. Thank you, Dom. Thank you, everybody who has been with us. We will see everybody next time. Thank you for watching. And as always, up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Up the Millers.
Here comes for more. 2 for Jensen, 2 for Rotherham. Shoots! Ravel. Vicious, but brilliant! The sweetest feeling for Rotherham United. Woods got round the back, and Richard Wood has done it again! It's done! It's Georgie Kelly!
Do me a favor, drop me off in